What the hell? He still has everything shut off. What's this guy's problem? How beta is this wimp?
Well, here's the thing. I'm here tonight to just have a discussion and make some points and then get back to my weekend. I know that most of the antagonism that I can receive for having this unpopular point of view is going to result in people saying the same 6 or 7 things over and over again. So if they popped up in my chat on here or in the comments section or whatever, then it would just be redundant anyways and just slow down the whole show of what it is that I want to do tonight. But tonight, after we get past this topic, we'll start turning things back on and things like that. But quite frankly, what I've been seeing with this whole YouTube dislikes debacle over the last couple of days is just a very serious thing that YouTube needs to take a very close look at. Oh, we even forgot to make the stream public. I have a problem with, like this will do anything anyways. It's unlisted. We could fix that in a hurry. Let's put under people and blogs. We are going to talk about technology, so I might change the category later on. But let's see. Let's just flip this over to stuff like this. So yeah, it's pretty redundant at this point if any of the same 6 or 7 talking points that I've already basically debunked show up here. So I'm not even going to bother at this point. And if we see stuff in the comments later on, we'll just deal with that as well. But the big thing that YouTube needs to be very, very worried about is just how little people understand the technology that they're developing. And we're going to go into some discussions on that. Might play some more music and some things like that with these sorts of things. Let's just check a few more settings. I always am paranoid that this thing's in omnidirectional mode instead of cardioid mode because it has this button that's easy to accidentally tap when you're moving the microphone around. So we'll just click it in the software to force a change by whatever. It's not a mechanical switch, so it's one of those like the soft power switches you see in PCs and the like. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay. This discussion is going to wrap up my discussion about the YouTube dislike thing. And so it's going to be a spin-off video. So the only features that are going to exist on this is going to be the stuff that is not stream specific anyways. So I'm going to leave everything shut off, and then once we're off this topic, give it some time, work on some other things like some videos and things like that, and then get back to normal on this channel. Because if I look at, for example, the effects of the dislike campaign and the hate campaign, which some people unfortunately were so knee-jerky that they were like, yeah, we're gonna come do this. I'm like, okay, we'll just shut off all the likes and dislike content or counters then, because we can pretty much count on the feedback. We can pretty much count on them not being accurate right now. So, and the thing is, I say that YouTube dislikes have no future, and the point of that is that people think that the dislike system is something that it's not, and they, in the process of this, they just prove me right with my very firm belief that YouTube is moving in the direction to where human systems or systems that depend on people are going to become optional, or they're going to become placebos to make us feel better. So I recently posted over on Twitter, of all places, an article from CNN talking about how when traffic lights and other traffic signals have been getting upgraded in the last couple of years, one of the things that's been going on in various municipalities is the installation of dummy buttons. You know those buttons you press to get trigger the lights to turn red so you can cross the street? Well, there are municipalities out there that are rolling out buttons or disconnecting old buttons so that the buttons don't really do anything anymore. So what's the point of having them then? Well, the thing is, people have this thing where they want the illusion of control. So even though the technology at, say, traffic lights and whatnot has developed to the point where there are automated systems and sensors and stuff that can detect whether there's a pedestrian standing around waiting to cross the street, even though that technology has developed, there are still going to be buttons in place that don't do anything because people want to push a button. They want to feel like they're doing something. It's a psychological thing. Same thing in elevators, too. The elevator buttons that close the door, supposedly, if you're in a hurry, they are not going to close the door unless you're an emergency worker with a key, because per the Americans with Disabilities Act, elevators have to stay open long enough so that someone in a wheelchair, on crutches, whatever, etc., can get in without it being an issue. So that's part of what needs to happen So that's part of what needs to happen. So those buttons don't do anything unless you're a firefighter or something, and you have a key that overrides that timer. But that's just the thing. There are examples of, say, things that exist that give us the illusion of being in control when that's really not what is going on. This stuff has even made it into my town as well. There's an intersection in my town with the buttons and stuff, a traffic light, a walk, don't walk, that stuff, and it's being done with pictures now instead of just words to kind of catch us up to the rest of the world where, lots of countries may have multiple languages or something, so having everything in English isn't always the best thing to do anymore. But, universal symbols and stuff like that instead of using English words for everything, so that no matter where you're from in the world, you see that and you know what it means, that kind of thing. But as my town has been upgrading this stuff, there's this one intersection in particular that very regularly glitches out. And what will happen is it'll go to pedestrian mode when there aren't any pedestrians. So there's nobody around to push the button. Now, why would it regularly go to that? A system malfunction from the control system. There you go. So I wonder if those buttons even do anything, or if there's some kind of sensor somewhere that's looking for signs that a person is standing around waiting to cross the street, and the button is just there to make us feel like we're doing something instead of just standing there like, well, is this thing ever going to switch? Is this thing going to do anything? When's this going to switch over? So, yeah, placebo buttons are a thing in municipalities, and I would not be surprised if the online version of this is placebo systems on YouTube. We talked earlier about how I very much have been believing for years that just about every one of YouTube's systems doesn't really do what it's advertised to do. Dislikes is one of them. You can dislike a video for any reason or no reason. It doesn't mean that the video is bad, even though there's people out there that are convinced that dislikes mean poor quality video. Now, I can just go to 5 videos right now and dislike them just to be a smartass. I don't actually have to dislike the video, know much about the video or the creator, or even watch the video. And then, of course, there's an incident that I ran into many years ago that taught me this lesson way back when I first was getting involved on YouTube. So back in the heydays of video blogs in the mid to late 2000s, as YouTube started to become a thing, there was a content creator who I sharply disagreed with and got into this big argument with. I can't even remember what the argument was about. I just know that he was very upset and he argued like crazy, and the next thing I know, I'm blocked. And this was back in the days when if someone blocked you on YouTube, you couldn't even subscribe to their channel. So I'm like, oh, let's see if I'm blocked. I go, I sub, you cannot subscribe to someone who has blocked you. Now here's the funny part. Shortly afterwards, I get a whole bunch of 1 stars on all my videos. And I'm like, gee, I wonder who this is. Videos that nobody cared about before, that got only a few views, no ratings, and no, oh yeah, all these people saying the star rating system was better. It's not. The star rating system was basically 1 star and 5 star most of the time. Very few people would actually think about 2, 3, or 4 stars, or even take the time, because if you're just clicking through YouTube videos, you don't want to be bothered to just think about, is this a 2 star, a 3 star, a 4 star? And the same things with, people encouraging you to 5-star their video if you like it, just like they bug you today to like the video if you like it, were in play back then. There were calls to action back then, just as there are today. So no, the star rating system wouldn't be better. It would just be more complicated. And on YouTube's side, from an IT perspective, it would take up more resources because you have 2, 3, and 4 stars to review, to take care of, instead of thumbs up, thumbs down. So that's not going to work either. But anyways, this incident with this streamer, this incident with this vlogger back in the day taught me a very important lesson of just how we need to be skeptical about these systems and speak out if, and just how easy they are to abuse. And so if there are creators out there that have mental well-being issues because of dislikes, then they need to learn this stuff, and they need to learn it pretty quickly. Otherwise, they're going to be unnecessarily miserable for a really long time. I mean, if you've been fishbowled by the internet to the point where you think that some little dislike counter on the internet ruins your day or whatnot, step away from the computer, go walk around outside and see all these people that don't nerd out on the internet as much as you do, just going about their lives. Maybe go to a supermarket or something, see all little old ladies saying, hey, is this on sale this week? I want to make a roast for when the grandkids come over. See people just going about not being bothered by stuff, or maybe they have problems and they're choosing not to show it. go on out there and remember what the rest of the world looks like, or if you're here in America, the United States of America. You know, so besides the people who do their darndest to not out themselves as having nothing better to do than just poke around on the internet and think that a system that will probably end up getting technologically deprecated is more important than it is. We talked about dislikes, though. Likes can be messed with as well. I mean, I did an April Fool's joke where, since I was already so infamous for being the guy that can't stand dislikes, I went and made a post saying, yeah, remove the like system. And that point is probably just as valid, even though it was in the context of an April Fool's joke, because I mean, what does creator after creator after creator on YouTube do? Hey, leave a like. Hey, leave a like. Why don't you just let people leave a like if they like the video? How about you stop bugging them and trying to make it compulsory? So you see, I mean, we've talked before about how likes have no credibility, dislikes have no credibility, and even comments too. I mean, YouTube comments have had a bad reputation for years. That's where you troll people. You know, and that's one of the reasons why when someone does have a constructive comment and something really cool to say, I'll throw out hearts on the comments like nothing, because I know it's not something that happens very often. Because at the same time you have people that are loudmouth and shouting people down, it's great to see people not be intimidated into silence with that sort of stuff. So either way. Oh yeah, and I suppose I should probably mention the guy that blocked me way back when. Because he had such an easy-to-remember username, I could every so often be like, oh, I remember that guy that overreacted and started the huge argument. Let's see how he's doing. This guy has blown away his channel and brought it back about 4 or 5 times in the last 15 years. He's been known with like 4 or 5 different usernames, but he still uses his original 2006 YouTube username in the metadata. And so, oh, look, 7 months ago, he made a video criticizing the pandemic. But overall, as I've checked in on this guy's content over the years, that he's the kind of person that just wants to stir stuff up on the internet. He's one of those rant channels. He's been numerous rant channels over the years. So this is a guy who I should not be surprised he couldn't handle a simple argument and just booted me out and then one-starred all my videos back in the day. So, but that was my early example of these systems not working right. To say nothing of course, the hate campaign that was going on when I first showed up towards that little old lady in the wheelchair who stuttered a lot from all the medications due to her disabilities, who was basically booted off the platform via an overly automated flagging system. Then there was a counter campaign to get her channel reinstated. But the bottom line in all of this is systems on YouTube can be abused, and the dislike system is no exception to that. It's interesting because I open up my neutral browser, which is Microsoft Edge, and I have it set to wipe itself out every time I close it. So if I want to look from the point of view of Johnny Q Public or whoever on the internet, I can do that just by opening stuff up in Edge. And wow, that's bright. When I open this up and I look at the videos from the people that are where it's Hands Across America for the dislike system, these people that are saying it's a stupid idea and whatnot, first of all, there's a ton of misinformation because these videos are all titled as though YouTube were removing dislikes, which is false. YouTube is experimenting with a system where the dislike counter is not shown on videos, but the like counter is, which is a wimpy, underwhelming system as far as I'm concerned. This is the crap that I expect Twitch to do. Go bragging about some little tiny feature that doesn't do very much. So I'm appalled that it was even posted. But that didn't stop a lot of these hotheads who get their views from hotheads to the tune of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views from making videos. Motorcycle number 1. It's a beautiful day for a ride. K Kona W. So it didn't stop a lot of these big creators. It didn't stop a lot of these creators from making videos just go, YouTube censoring people and stuff, removing dislikes, even though YouTube themselves have said that they're not doing that. They're not removing the button. They're just hiding the count on certain channels that they're experimenting with, and it's only an experiment. We don't know if they're even going to do anything. The thing is, though, I've read a lot of the talking points of the people who are Hands Across America regarding the dislike system, and what I see over and over again is people don't understand the technology that YouTube's playing with. Let's face it, YouTube's been evolving away from systems that people can game. Likes and dislikes are one example of those systems. And even the comments. Comments are subject to the terms of service, including spam, scams, and deceptive content, that policy that I keep seeing people losing channels over and then complain to YouTube on Twitter about. So if you have an account that's making comments that try and maliciously drive people off of YouTube, you can lose your channel because of that. So comments are subject to community guidelines, terms of service, things like that. Also, there is a system in place where YouTube has hold potentially inappropriate comments. They're working on something similar to Twitch Auto Mod that will auto flag comments. It could be, incendiary or spam or what have you. And recently, by the way, they upgraded it so that I no longer need to go through and clean up all these stupid little spam robots that are doing nothing but posting links and stuff. I mean, I even added the kissy emoji to my list of flagged terms so that these spammers trying to misdirect, people off to, bomb chicka wow wow sites and the like, and who knows what's on them in terms of malware, so that these people would get automatically filtered. That's another improvement. Keep the drinks handy, everybody. That's another improvement, by the way, of the comment filtering system, is there's an automatic filter in there now, and you can add whatever terms you want, and those terms don't have to be individual words. So if somebody says a phrase like "your content is garbage" or something, like I saw earlier, just add it to the terms, and now everything that says that is going to get held aside, and if I don't do anything, they get deleted after 60 days. So the people that say, "Oh, you're removing comments," well, YouTube has more systems that auto-remove comments, and also systems can be programmed on the creator side. So the bottom line is, what do you do about that? What if there's a creator you absolutely can't stand? What if there's somebody you don't like them, you want their channel to do miserably, you just don't watch? The old thing that people have been saying for years is more true now than it has ever been. If you don't like a video, don't watch it. And the reason why is if you actually go into Creator Studio, well, this requires you to actually make videos to actually see this, or take the word for it from someone who does. If you go into Creator Studio, YouTube's creepy uncle algorithm technology is not just about my video didn't get any views because of the algorithm. No. The time you spend watching YouTube videos is getting tracked, recorded, quantified, and number crunched against. There's a huge data collection system going on with what you're doing on YouTube. And there are some ways to manually override a few things. Like, for example, if your algorithmic recommendations are not good enough for you, you can select all notifications when you subscribe to somebody and ring the bell, and it can override that. And also there's a blacklisting system. If there's somebody you never want to see again, not interested from the recommendation page. Once you see it on your recommended videos, I don't want to see that person again, boom, they're gone. The only way you ever see their stuff again is if you go sub to them. And on Google systems, it is much harder to undo a decision like that than it is on, say, something like Twitch. It's a lot more buried. So both platforms have blacklisting systems for saying, don't ever show me this person's stuff ever again. The Google one is the harder one to undo. So if you get blacklisted on YouTube, that is a big, big problem, unless for some reason you can get them to subscribe to you, because the algorithms will not show your stuff to them anymore. And I've done that to a couple of channels. There's some channels I'm like, I want nothing to do with these people. Blacklisted, they don't show up anymore. And I'm wondering, given how Google likes to collect data on absolutely every freaking thing on here, is there a system in place where if a channel gets blacklisted too many times, they take a hit in the algorithm because of that? And, oh, well, people are saying constantly, don't follow this channel anymore, so maybe we shouldn't show it to as many people. So something very important to think about in terms of how you come across to others. And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to have an incendiary channel on here. I want to have nerd entertainment, essentially. I'm a nerd. I'm not afraid to say I'm a nerd. I tinker with computers. I tinker with stuff like this light stuff and things like that. I talk about multimedia stuff like presentations and streaming stuff and Twitch versus YouTube. I mean, that's the kind of nerd stuff that I want to do on this channel. I don't want to be just crawling around all these websites looking for every single person to like poke fun of or something every single show. So, I mean, I will have my opinions about creators, but by and large, if your channel is too much about other people and not enough something you're doing yourself, then you're not really building something up. You're not really building something up in the process as a creator. And when you look at some of the very, very successful channels on here that double down on videos and making good stuff and making people happy without needing to lean on the crutch of controversy, you look at all these channels on here that are doing that, it's a real wake-up call, especially in this day and age. I mean, if you think that half the darn people that you criticize aren't going to be able to handle criticism, then heck with them. It's just do your own thing. Come up with something that you yourself can do. And I say this because I've already known somebody who used to be a big fan of my channel. Not a good one, though. He was more interested in the schadenfreude and me making complaint videos about stuff not going right in my life. But there was a guy that used to watch me, and his channel was built on antagonism towards another creator. Probably caused problems today with community guidelines, but that's the only thing he ever really did consistently, was poo-poo other video game reviewers and stuff that he didn't like. And so I saw the video where he got in with the wrong crowd. He wound up with some antagonistic colleagues, and they turned on him and tore him apart on a Discord call. And that video has gotten a bunch of views, and basically, he shut his channel down shortly afterwards. He was done with it all. Or however that all went down. So you can take the risk of, being incendiary like that, or you can do something constructive. Like, for example, like what I do with the computer tinkering and stuff. Or maybe tinkering with AV stuff. Walk away from the computers a bit. See what kind of, better looking video I can get out of the limited equipment that I usually work with. So, because I don't have the $700 DSLRs or whatever that so many of these big YouTubers are using. Matter of fact, some of my channel is kind of a reaction to and a revolt against, so to speak, all these over-polished, overproduced YouTubers out there who do the exact same thing every single video and have things like in-video advertising, tons of makeup, lighting, all kinds of other stuff. It's just cosmetic stuff instead of just getting to the darn point of what the video's about. I mean, we live in a day and age where YouTube is getting disrupted in the same way they disrupted traditional media, because some other platform out there, TikTok, is bringing back the simple, short video that gets straight to the point and can be easily viewed and filmed on smartphones. Well, there weren't smartphones when YouTube got started, but people were starting with webcams and digital cameras. They weren't buying lots of fancy equipment, and YouTube didn't have the technical solutions to support really high-quality video. There was a time in the late 2000s when YouTube was made fun of by a late-night comedian who was protesting the whole Viacom lawsuit. Forgot who it was, but it was a long time ago, and he called YouTube a circular file of bad videos, referring to the 100 megabyte limit, 10 minutes, the fact that a YouTube video was synonymous with crappy camcorder video that didn't have much production value to it. Well, even camcorders have gotten better since then. Never mind getting into more expensive smartphone cameras or professional cameras and things along those lines. So anyways, let's get back to the dislikes thing. I want to actually put on screen what exactly I posted that's gotten 1,000+ likes on Twitter. Probably my most liked tweet of all time. There are some people that really like what I have to say, and I've checked out some of the names and whatnot. I don't think some of them would actually like me otherwise, except for this one instance. Some of them are in certain interest groups and stuff that would probably block me the minute we disagreed on something. But let's just hook up. So let's just take a look at this tweet. Let's take a look at this tweet. Let's load up Avast Secure and link it up. Here is what I posted and was grotesquely misinterpreted by so many people with so much confirmation bias that you'd need a dump truck minimum to hold it all. Here was my exact tweet. If dislikes exist at all, trolls will weaponize them. That is true. Trolling doesn't take a lot of skill. It's like playing a bass guitar. Pretty easy to pick up, not so good, not so easy to get really good at. And I'm really surprised that there was very few people, if any, that were actually wondering if I was serious or trolling with this. There was one guy that said, I can't tell whether this guy is trolling or not. He had the right idea. What I was doing was being a John Oliver. I was combining something very serious with being a total smartass. And that is something that John Oliver is known for. In reality, I am not as wound up and softer than baby crap as I appeared to be here. But I knew that people would respond to this, and respond they did. But I'm here today to give the context on everything. So the dislike system is a negative behavior reinforcement system. Every time I've seen these systems somewhere, there's always some smart ass like, I'm going to dislike for no reason, or I have nothing better to do. Been seeing that with dislikes and downvotes going back almost 20 years now to the Morrowind Summit. The Morrowind Summit was the #1 Morrowind mod site and forum aside from Bethesda's official forums. A lot of times people that were banned from the official Bethesda forums would go off to the Morrowind Summit, and if they were banned as a modder, they'd release their mods there and some other stuff as well. But one of the things that the Morrowind Summit was known for was very lax moderation. So there eventually grew to be a bunch of people who actually, however pathetic this sounds, got their kicks out of downvoting everybody's mods. And there wasn't enough moderation to do anything about them. So there'd be people put a lot of work into making a Morrowind mod. It wouldn't actually be a bad mod, but because there was this group of people on the Morrowind Summit, there would persistently be downvotes from people that had nothing better to do. So, and that's the thing. There doesn't always have to be malice either. If you want to troll somebody, you could be just someone you don't feel like going to bed yet, so you're just going to mess with people on a sock puppet account. You know, it's just the thing. Bottom line is, it's turned into a way to make people miserable. So does that happen? It happens with this system, and it will happen with other systems that are similar. Now, here's where the people that are calling me beta completely missed. If you're concerned about your already abused dislike system, which we just mentioned, we said that it's abused at all. We didn't say how much it was abused or how often it was abused, or who would be the target of it, which mostly would be smaller creators. Because if you have a bunch of buddies or a forum site or something with a bunch of people that can go on a big dislike brigade or a malicious raid or something, and it would have to be a forum site because many service providers like Reddit and Discord will ban communities that are used as launch pads for targeted harassment campaigns. If you had something like that, it needs to be really big before it can really put a dent in the numbers to counteract the fan bases of larger creators. So when it comes to, people wanting to troll on the internet, weaponizing dislikes, it's got to be more the sort of thing that's going to happen with smaller creators. And what do you know, if I go looking in my neutral browser, Microsoft Edge, for everybody who's saying that dislike campaigns don't happen, all of them are larger YouTubers with more than enough critical mass to where even if they were brigaded, it wouldn't do much to them. They'd never even see it in the numbers, just not enough people. It would take like bots or something, and YouTube has systems that vet everything. They vet comments with the new stuff that we talked about earlier. They vet your likes, they vet your dislikes, they vet your views, they vet your subscribers. And so there are automated systems going over everything to try and spot illegitimacies or bots or something like that. So just because you have trolls out there trying to weaponize anything negative out there doesn't necessarily mean it's always successful. But if it happens at all, this point is correct. So we can say that the dislike system is abused based on that, not necessarily saying how often it happens or who does it or who's targeted by it. Usually small creators, they're the ones most likely to be affected by it. Same thing with malicious raids. As I've seen from YouTube videos in years gone by of people being like, haha, look what we did to this person. Nowadays, of course, they'd be taken down for community guidelines. Anyways, if you're concerned about your already abused dislike system, remove it and have it where videos that aren't as well received simply get less likes. That's it. Because there are already platforms out there that are likes only, and it serves as a scoring system. Separates, what separates the good from the bad, etc. But even that, as people have mentioned, is questionable. That's because these systems that have a human component to them are always questionable, and you always have to work on getting rid of the inaccuracies that they will inevitably cause. If you're concerned about your already abused dislike system, remove it. So here's what I'm saying to YouTube. I'm saying, hey, YouTube, you are taking the dislike counter and you're hiding it. How about you actually do something more significant? If you're concerned about the dislike system, don't hide it to where you can still get dislike brigaded and the creator will still say it. Have the spine to remove it, which we already know they don't. So what was the point of all of this other than getting a bunch of people upset? Because that's going to be the net effect of it. So beta me for saying that? Ha! I'm telling YouTube that they don't have enough of a spine to really do anything about this problem that they think they have with targeted dislike campaigns and creator well-being. Yeah, well, hey, guess what, YouTube? You want to talk creator well-being? Let's talk about not some itty-bitty experiment to just take a dislike counter and hide it. Let's talk about abuse of the content ID system. Let's talk about abuse of the copyright system. Let's talk about abuse of other systems. Let's talk about the algorithms being the middleman to your ability to not only get an audience, but maintain an audience. And I say maintain because you don't know when you post something if your audience might not see it because of some system glitch somewhere. People that sub to you may not always get the notification. There are people that have created sock puppet accounts and subscribed to themselves just to test this. So YouTube is worried about a publicly visible dislike count when there are far more serious things to respond to. There are systemic problems that have been problems for years. There are other problems that have been problems. There's people problems that have been problems for years. There's technology problems that have been problems for years. And what they brag about is a small experiment where the dislike counter is going to be hidden. That's it. That's not something I expect from YouTube. That's something I expect from Twitch, who makes this big to-do about, oh my goodness, we're doing stuff for our creators. And then you see that they don't want to respond to their weaknesses on DMCA. They don't want to build a competitor to content ID. And the new features that they release as part of this big tech reveal are little Mickey Mouse UI features that make it easy for you to do on Twitch what you've been able to do on YouTube for years, like unpublish a VOD. You know, have not everything publicly visible on your channel. Wow. And let's also not forget the technological advances that basically gave you more and more abilities to blow away all your content on Twitch. That's the stuff that's not exciting from a tech perspective. And then we see YouTube saying, yeah, well, we're going to hide the dislike counter. That's it? That's the feature? Hey, YouTube, have the guts to try something more audacious. But we know they're not going to do that. We know they're not going to do that anytime soon because the dislike button is something they can tie algorithmic stuff to. And since when has YouTube ever been a platform that shies away from algorithming the living hell out of everything? When has YouTube ever been that way? Yeah, it was actually something I was talking about before all this happened. One of the ways in which you can abuse the dislike system, if you really hate somebody, sub and get all notifications and knee-jerk dislike everything, including, by the way, streams, which get unlisted after the stream is done. The only people that are going to see your streams and dislike them between when you broadcast them and when you process them or delete them are people that receive the notifications. So when I had somebody who was doing, subscribing and then hitting the bell and all notifications just to dislike everything I do, that was something I didn't have evidence of until somebody did it to one of my streams that was going through extended processing. There weren't a bunch of dislikes. I knew what the dislikes were when I stopped the stream and then saw it go up during the transition period. That's somebody who got the notifications. That's somebody who subbed with the bell. So that's somebody who is fully, I want to see everything this guy does just to be antagonistic about it. Well, what does your life have to become for that to be something you want to spend a lot of time doing? How rotten is your situation to where that's how you have fun? And this is a pattern with what I've seen with the people responding on Twitter. So besides the lack of understanding of the technology that YouTube is working on and how they're progressing from systems that involve a lot of human stuff to automated stuff that gets past everyone's propaganda, there was also a lot of people that took the like-dislike system far more seriously than they should, even when spinning around and saying that a dislike count should not be the thing that gets you upset as a creator. So they tell creators, don't take the dislikes as seriously, don't let it ruin your day, but then they say that it is super important. But what about scam videos? Look up deceptive content on Twitter. Many of the search results will be Team YouTube confirming to people that their channels were shut down for violating that policy. So there is quite a push despite it not being perfect, there is quite a push to clean the platform out of stuff like that. Even though you've got people saying, hey, look, I can look for how to download this video game for free and get a bunch of scam videos that haven't been addressed yet. Yeah, well, if you're looking for sketchy stuff on YouTube, don't be surprised if you get sketchy results. Because I tested this with less sketchy stuff. There are people that were expressing concerns that they may watch a tutorial video, like, oh, how to fix my car or something. And they're worried about it being a bad tutorial video that makes them break their car. Well, so I went looking for stuff. I went looking for things like how to change my oil, how to fix an alternator, how to fix a head gasket, how to do this, how to do that. Several common car repairs that people might be searching for Twitter for. And you know, Twitter, they might be searching on YouTube for. And you know who kept showing up in the results? Chris Fix, large channel that does a lot of mechanical stuff. So these people that are finding all these scam videos, what the heck are they searching for, and how deep are they digging? Because algorithmically, again, you see the big channels riding high. But then again, if it's a channel like Scotty Kilmer, who's been a mechanic for decades, and he's showing up in the top of the search results, then fine. As opposed to, there probably is, because the way it works with people is no matter how good or bad it is, if you can think of it, someone out there is probably trying to do it. I imagine there's probably somebody out there who is going to Google University, Google searching how to fix their car and then making YouTube videos about it. They don't have a mechanical background. They don't have an automotive background. They're just making videos because they found something that worked for them. They can't articulate the kind of knowledge that someone with an established base of trade skill or whatever will actually have in fixing cars, because they don't have it. But they're trying to make YouTube videos, even though they're not going to do as well. Because the people that actually know what they're talking about are going to be more successful in the long run. But these mythical videos that people say are all over the place, I'm trying to find where they are. And other than going to other people's videos and watching them search for sketchy stuff, I just don't see it. Plus, I know YouTube's aggressive towards it. Keep an eye on the customer service Twitters on YouTube, or the YouTube customer service Twitters, and you'll see people very regularly complaining about losing channels due to spam, scams, and deceptive content. And what exactly does that include? That includes all kinds of stuff, including things that people think will grow their channel on YouTube. So recently, they have added things like presidential elections, integrity, don't say defamatory stuff about politicians, things along those lines, video spam, like promising viewers they'll see something, but instead directs them off site, etc. Get rich quick schemes, trying to spread malware, misleading metadata or thumbnails, one of the examples of which is having a popular celebrity in a thumbnail when the video is not about them in any way, shape, or form. Voter suppression, suppression of census, participation in manipulated media, candidate eligibility, don't interfere with democratic processes, incentivization spam, don't do sub for sub anymore, comments spam, comments that violate the policy independent of videos, repetitive comments, leaving large amounts of identical, untargeted, or repetitive comments, so watch out for copy pastas. I don't know if YouTube brass are all that familiar with how much copy pasting is a way people mess around on Twitch, etc. But there are examples of all of this. But if you search Twitter for deceptive content, there's two examples that I saw just this week without having to search for it. And then I search for it and I see example after example. Let's just do latest. Oh, wait, who is that? Forward. Latest. Let's look at top. Oh, no, it's somebody else, a different logo. Yep, spam, scams, deceptive content. We do not spam, clickbait, things like that, etc. All these things that people are saying we need the dislike system for, there's already a ton of action that's taken by YouTube's teams. It's the most common thing I see people lose channels for, to the extent that I'm wondering, how do I not do this on my own channel? And therefore I regularly check the help article in terms of what stuff's in there. And I think I've seen a lot of it somewhere before. Like some people that have actually stolen my videos, like the washer dryer video about the humidifier and stuff, and they've created stuff with what looks like a link to an Amazon. There's only 2 of them left. A lot of these people have gotten their channels suspended since then. But I have the option of DMCAing them for using my stuff. But I've seen so many of these channels self-destruct that I'll just let YouTube do its thing. But I know what these people are talking about, and I know what they're aiming for in terms of not having this stuff on YouTube. And quite frankly, the manipulation crap is also being technologically deprecated. If you make a wild and crazy thumbnail, a lot of people out there can just mouse over it and see a preview of the actual video. So if you have neon colors and stuff, and they can just mouse over and see, oh, it's a dude in a room just blabbering, then there you go. And that's part of what I'm talking about in terms of YouTube dislikes having no future, is that YouTube doesn't have to remove the dislike button in order to achieve something to where the dislike system isn't something to be too concerned about. They just have to technologically deprecate it, just like they're doing other stuff. Now, what am I talking about? So, in the early days, if you look at development of copyright on YouTube, the content ID system, for all of its faults and all of the ways that people have tried to abuse that as well, which have been getting cleaned up more and more recently, the content ID system, for all of its faults, is still an improvement over no system, to where the record companies will issue DMCAs against you if you're walking through the mall or something and like Creedence Clearwater Revival plays over the classic rock station or something like that. So nowadays you get a claim on your video. I say that YouTube should move to a more proportional claim system where if you're IRL streaming and somebody plays like Nicki Minaj in some store you're walking in, then only the length of the song should be claimable by the record company and not the entire live stream. I imagine we'll see that someday. But for now, what we have is still a radical improvement over the total tenacious bunker mode stuff that Twitch has been doing since they don't have a system. They don't have a content ID system. They don't have a music license like Facebook has been becoming known for. They don't have this sort of stuff going on. So their guidance to creators has been to blow away all their stuff, you know? And it's one of the things they've been getting lampooned over since all of this crap's been going on with Twitch. But in the early days, you would get strikes. You would get DMCA'd for having music, commercial music in your video, even if it was playing over the radio. There are some very infamous historical examples of people getting DMCA'd because they made a video of their kid dancing to some song on the radio. It wasn't even all that great a quality either because it was a camcorder or a digital camera back then in the days of needed smaller files, short 10-minute limit, blah, blah, blah. There were issues back then. It would not at all pass as even a cassette quality version of the song. And it wasn't even the whole song. It was just a little 30-second or whatever video it was. So there was a problem with that back then, and someone got DMCA'd for it. Then it moved to Warner Music muting audio in so many videos because there was copyrighted content detected. Similar to the Audible Magic system that exists in Twitch nowadays, where portions of the audio have been muted due to copyrighted content being detected or sensed or whatever. And nowadays you have alternative monetization. So people, if they want to make a song with, like, say, Leonard Skinner or something in it, they just redirect some ad revenue to the record companies. They can make all kinds of money without having to lift a finger. So times however many people use popular music in their videos. And as part of the content ID system, you can actually upload an automatically generated video so that you have a YouTube video so that if people search for the song, then there's something they can play. You can put ads on it. And you can have that be the video that's sent through like YouTube Music and other YouTube-powered music services. This tab is muted, right? Yeah, well, I've got a Bratz doll type thing here anyways. Let's see. I'm looking at this through my neutral browser. It's a song by the Carpenters from the 70s. So I've been listening to this a little bit because Yugi had a piano cover in her stream. I don't know if she knew that the song was commercial or not. Her VOD probably got content ID'd because of that. But the thing is, if you do have a video get content ID'd, you also have the song scrubber on YouTube, which lets you degrade the quality. So if you're a streamer and it's a VOD, then it sounds like you lagged out for like 3 minutes. So you probably can still make out what they're saying, but you can't make out the song as much. All these cool features that YouTube has that replaced strikes only. Anyways, let's set up Microsoft Edge here. Probably have to link it. So here's Microsoft Edge. Here is the YouTube page for They long to be close to you. A really old Carpenters song from 60s, 70s. I don't know. I heard this on the radio on the light stations when I was growing up. I've mentioned before, my folks had a phase where they listened to like light hits, doctor's office, soft rock stuff and whatnot. So here is something uploaded August 31st, 2018. And this is one of the things too, if you read too much into the systems, notice how comments are turned off. Well, does Universal Music Group, can they not handle criticism? But maybe they didn't want to moderate this. I actually wonder if Universal Music even did anything to turn these off. Maybe it's a thing where if you submit something to Content ID, the generated page, which is what this is, that's the ad. But if you go to these, like, where is one? Is there one in the side? Yeah, I Won't Last a Day Without You. It's got the album art, and Yesterday Once More. Here's two more of them. They have the album art as the thumbnail. So there is no video component to this video. It's literally just audio. You can play this through a music service like YouTube Music and stuff. So maybe it's the case where you submit stuff and the comments are turned off by default because it's literally just an audio track that only exists on YouTube as some kind of video because of the Content ID submission. That's the thing. So, and this is something I see with some of the people sounding off on Twitter. They show through what they tweet that they don't follow the technology that YouTube's developing. They think it's always the creator doing stuff, when in reality, there's technology being developed, for example, to clean up YouTube comments and other stuff like that. You really have to leave this possibility on the table that an automated system could be doing the things you think a creator's doing. There is kind of a crossover too, like what we mentioned with the comment filter. You can put in certain terms, like terms that are like slurs. You can also put in terms that invade your privacy and stuff like that so that nobody can use them in a comment. And then make sure you put in a bunch of similar terms that don't really invade your privacy so nobody can play, like, guessing games or hangman, so to speak, with what your system doesn't allow. But there's all kinds of things you can put in, and you can type in sentences, phrases, all kinds of other stuff, copy pastas even. And you can put those in as terms that will immediately flag a comment to be reviewed before it's posted. And it's auto-deleted in 60 days if you don't get to it. So it's useful as an anti-spam tool, by the way. Which, by the way, we're talking about this whole thing with dislikes. The whole use me as the dislike button could be treated as spam. So, and that's one of the reasons why the people that are rip-roaring about the dislike system are going to fight like crazy for this, because it's really the last thing they have that YouTube isn't really focusing on, except for this little wimpy little change to hide the count. So, but YouTube doesn't have to remove the dislike system to make progress on this. They could just technologically deprecate it. And one of the ways in which they have that is where dislikes can actually serve as engagement in the algorithm. If you make the kinds of videos that people love to hate, and they are clicking dislike and stuff, that's engagement. I don't think YouTube actually punishes videos for too many dislikes. And one of the reasons why, I mean, otherwise, why would Rebecca Black's Friday become such a viral hit and a classic meme song nowadays? To the point where there was a re-release of it that's kind of like, yeah, I remember the internet culture of the 2010s and I remember the old troll face from back in the day. I saw the video. But the thing is, YouTube has had competition before that did punish you for dislikes. And the platform where I saw this first, as well as the like-dislike system first, back when YouTube was doing star rating systems, is long gone. They failed. That was livevideo.com. Live video had a thumbs up, thumbs down before YouTube did. And they had some other features before YouTube did, like stereo sound and lack of an up and lack of a length limit. When YouTube forced you to, 10 minutes, they didn't have that. They just had a size limit. And instead of the star rating system, they had like-dislike. Boy, gee, I wonder. The thing is, though, I remember from their help files that if you got too many dislikes, the systems would stop recommending your videos. So it was possible to shut someone down in the what passed for an algorithm back then. It was possible to shut someone down by disliking their videos all over the place. That platform's gone now. They went bankrupt. They went out of business. Parent company went broke. Platform went down. Yeah. So the question we got to ask ourselves, though, is why would YouTube have a system where dislikes don't punish you? Because it's all subjective. This is someone's opinion of your video. And people can have whatever opinion they want. It doesn't have to be logical. It doesn't even have to make any sense. How many people out there, if you look at things like prejudice in our society, they have opinions of people without even meeting them or getting to know them based on what they look like or where they're from or what neighborhood they live in. That's the fickleness of human opinions. And how about sales pitches? People who puff themselves up and make themselves look more skilled, talented, and whatever than they actually are. What about all that stuff that's out there that whenever there's a poll on the internet, there's usually a disclaimer, this is not scientific? That's a thing. And so we get to the impending doom of the dislike button, even if it sticks around. YouTube has systems that analyze the living crap out of how you watch YouTube videos. If there's a video that you think is deceptive or does the wrong thing, click away, go watch something else. If there's a video that you don't like, get out of there. Because a video that gets less watch minutes or has lower, average viewer retention and whatnot, or stuff like that, that's part of how YouTube could program the system to police itself so that only the best videos get recommended in search results and get all the visibility and stuff like that. It's a work in progress. It's going to have its issues. It's going to have times when it doesn't work right, but it's better than letting people just keep saying, no, really, my video is good. No, really, his video sucks. No, really, my video is good. Get past all the propaganda. Actions speak louder than words. If somebody has a video where the thumbnail is one thing and the video is another, click away from it. That's how you, and encourage others to do likewise. Not by leaving a comment either where the creator can respond to you, but have things like, make videos on your own channel or have blog posts or something, or go on social media or something along those lines. Get the word out that way. Because, even if there is no interaction whatsoever, like there is on Dailymotion, where there's only a heart button, there are no dislikes and there are no comments. I can still tell you about a lousy video on Dailymotion and get the word around that way. Or you could have a forum site or something like that where we critique stuff and things like that. There's ways around these things, even if the platform doesn't seem to be on your side. But if we talk about this whole thing with the illusion of control, think about it this way. YouTube's studio, YouTube's analytics can tell you what the hot points are in your video and what the dull points are. When did people tune in, and what segment of the video did people watch the longest consistently? And when did they click away? YouTube has that amount of data in there. When you live stream, you see a chart over time for your concurrence. Who came and who went and when. Like, did you change a topic or something like that and a bunch of people left? You can't really know the circumstance of everybody watching a live stream. Maybe they had an appointment or something they had to get to, or supper was ready or what have you. So you can't really tell the whole story there. But the bottom line is YouTube is analyzing everything you do on this platform. Multiply that by everybody else who's watching videos. There are ways of algorithmically punishing videos without needing a dislike system. How about videos that get clicked a lot but don't have a lot of follow through because people are disgusted with what they're seeing and they click away? The more people wake up to this and start doing that and not leaving nasty comments or disliking or anything, which counts as engagement, the more this system's going to progress. But unfortunately, the more deprecated the like-dislike system's going to become. Then why should we take it seriously? Someone who just wants to mess with you can click dislike, and somebody who's a total fanboy of some creator, or a simp as they're called nowadays, can just click like every single video. In a sense, the credibility of these systems, these rating systems, has been slipping away for years. So what does YouTube do to progress beyond them? Do more stuff behind the scenes. And if need be, keep the illusion of control through some form of the existence of these systems, even if they do next to nothing except get people upset. And it's interesting. It's interesting how people say that this is all a giant move to protect corporations from people disliking commercials for stuff. Corporations aren't going to care. There is nobody, it's a corporate entity. There is no one person to personally insult. There's somebody working a job who has procedures to follow, probably, in terms of analyzing the data. But there is no, you made the creator mad and they snap back at you in the comments or they block you or something like that. It's a company we're talking about. They have SOPs for everything if they're worth their salt as a company. So whoever is actually dealing with all the dislikes on the ad campaign video or whatever, there are a lot of people probably going over those results and probably trying to vet them themselves. Folks know out there that the internet is home to angry people who go try to make themselves look and their buddies look bigger than they actually are. Even on YouTube. What's the biggest number on so many videos among all these numbers here? The views. Many, 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 many people out there just watch. They don't click like or dislike or leave comments. Any kind of pushing a button or leaving a comment is vocal minority automatically, good or bad. So companies are going to know this. And the people they train to deal with this stuff have procedures to follow, but there is nobody to personally insult. There is nobody to personally berate. It's not even a person. It's an organization. And a large organization like, say, Coca-Cola or whatnot, they're going to have other ways of doing demographic studies, focus groups, all that formal marketing stuff, so that they don't have to depend on whether or not a bunch of people are dislike brigading an advertisement on YouTube. They don't have to depend on those results for anything. They can chalk it up to just people being mad on the internet, like people often are, and do other kinds of studies to take a look at whether people like their products or not. So no, it's not the corporations that are going to give a darn about this, and they're not. It's not the corporations that need to be defended via hiding the dislike count either. Probably the most common person that would be upset about a dislike count is a small creator, because they don't have the critical mass to dismiss it as like the people that joke in the comments about like 50 people think that this, that, or the other, cracking a joke about the people that click dislike, because there's always so many more likes, because these people have a fan base of people that actually appreciate and like their videos on a regular basis. And hey, maybe this is part of the reason why so many large creators bug people to like every single video, because it gets them that much quicker to that critical mass where dislike brigading no longer really matters because it doesn't show up in the numbers anyways. But I would say that anybody who really judges videos by likes, dislikes, instead of just watching it and making up their own mind and clicking away if it sucks like I do, or arrowing around to see if it gets any better, which also means not as much watch time, which goes into the system and gets registered as such for the algorithm, that thing everybody's afraid of nowadays. People don't need thumbs up, thumbs down. But I think YouTube will keep it in just to make people feel like they can still do something. The question is, with everybody who's involved in this, when will they learn about the part 2 of this story? That just because you upset somebody on some forum site somewhere and now 50 people are trying to dislike brigade you every time you upload anything. There you go. In my case, though, I get annoyed by this because it's people that have that little going for them, that's how they have fun. And if you have that much energy, to organize a bunch of people or make a botnet or something that goes and dislikes videos, you probably have enough talent to do something more constructive. It's just like the problems I have with copy pastas in my comments sections. If you leave me a gigantic essay, you have enough material to make your own video, so do it. It's YouTube. You probably have a compelling enough opinion in order to make a video about it if you're leaving me a humongous essay in the comments. And I'm talking like mega, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 paragraphs. I mean, something big enough to be a news article in the comments. Way too much. But that's the thing. So fundamentally, what's in play here? What's in play here is the illusion of control. The same reason the dummy buttons exist at crosswalks and stuff. People like having a button to press. Makes them feel better. Makes them feel like they have control, even if they don't. like the closed door button in an elevator that doesn't do anything by law unless it's an emergency worker with a key to override the delay. It's crazy. I don't like the deceptiveness of, automated sensors can do the job. Why do you still have to press a button? Or should you press a button? I don't want to have to figure out if something's computerized enough that if I'm on foot and I need to cross the street, can I push the button or not? But it's something that people like. They like feeling like they're in control even if they're not. My recommendation for everybody who's tied themselves up in knots about this dislike thing over the last 2 days, why don't you actually learn a thing or two about YouTube? Step away from the trolling, get your smartphone out, make some kind of YouTube video. Doesn't matter whether it's any good or not. Doesn't matter whether anyone sees it or not. You can get like 5 views, maybe 1 like or 1 dislike or whatever. But you can go into the creator studio and look at the analytics and all the creepy uncle algorithm stuff that YouTube's working on and see for yourself just how much number crunching is going on behind the scenes, even if you don't think you're doing anything. Now, there's technical limits to some of this. So, for example, watch minutes. If somebody is just running videos without actually watching them, like the way people watch TV, where they just have the TV going just for background noise, I mean, that's not going to be the same as people being engaged and whatnot. But this is all things that YouTube has to figure out as the platform progresses. But I can tell you, about 10 years ago, in the early 2010s, we saw the rise of watch time versus views. We saw people getting upset, myself included, about massively plummeting view counts. I got down to like 10 views a video for the first time ever in years of doing YouTube because of the switch over to watch minutes, and the system wasn't up to speed yet. It took me years to figure out why YouTube did that, but I think it's for the better now. What happened was, instead of high views, the system was looking at high watch minutes. So instead of people clicking around finding something to watch, they wanted to see who was watching stuff consistently and what they were watching and how much of it. One of the examples given for the changeover to watch minutes was those infamous videos in the early days of YouTube with a bikini as the thumbnail and then something completely unrelated. Nowadays, that would be a form of deceptive content, violation of the community guidelines. But people were doing that, and people were getting upset. They were 1-starring the video, and they were putting comments like, "This sucks. Where's the bikini girl? Da 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 da." And then there were screamers too. Remember screamer pranks? Yeah, we're going way back on that one. YouTube, I think, now has a little bit of audio dynamic range compression to prevent screamer videos, but it's an old thing from back in the day. And these things were the reasons why YouTube developed the way it did. When you had a video getting tons of views, but nobody was sticking around to watch it because they noticed immediately it was a screenshot of one thing, thumbnail of one thing, and then something else when the video actually got going. Of course YouTube's going to go in this direction. And this is Google we're talking about. Before this became a YouTube thing, this is something Google had to work on for people searching for stuff on the internet at google.com. So with Google taking over YouTube, it was only a matter of time before whatever technology they were working on as a search engine would end up as part of YouTube. So that's been the progression. The progression is away from stuff that people can bias, whether they like somebody, hate somebody, or what have you, towards systems that get past the fluff, that get past the propaganda, that look at the actions speak louder than words and answer the question, who's watching? Are they staying focused or whatnot? And it's not just YouTube either. Over on Twitch, there are systems that will detect whether you have the stream muted or not and freeze a couple of things like watch time, or if you're farming for drops or something. So if you're going to farm for drops, set the volume at like 1% or something. You have to do that because the systems know when you have the stream muted. That's the kind of stuff these platforms are working on. So if you've been really upset about this and you troll people with sock puppet accounts with no videos, that classic template, get a constructive YouTube channel, make a constructive YouTube video, let it get some views, likes, and dislikes, then look at the numbers, even if you don't want to make videos. Have your one video, and then look in Creator Studio and check the numbers on it. Look at how much you can drill down. Look at what's available nowadays and what YouTube is working on. Subscribe to the Creator Insider channel on YouTube, as well as YouTube Creators, which is the official channel. And watch what they're working on. And you'll see very, very quickly that this uproar over dislikes is only going to be an uproar to people that either don't know what's coming or don't like what's coming. But either way, time marches on and things change. If YouTube really screws up to the point where it threatens the platform's success, we'll see competitors pop up and be successful. And we'll see people leave in large numbers, just like we did with MySpace. You know, viable competition came along in Facebook, and where's MySpace now? Little music site. Maybe. Do they even still do that? Been years since I checked. I had a MySpace page in 2005. I only deleted it, finally, about 3 or 4 years ago. And it was pre-MultimediaJay, by the way, so didn't have anything to do with the YouTube channel. But yeah, time marches on. These platforms are always working on something. It's just not always as stupid and underwhelming as this little thing. Oh, we're going to hide the dislike count on certain accounts as videos. Like that's going to do anything. Come on, YouTube. You can do better than that. And quite frankly, there's a lot of people out there who are expecting you to do better than that. So where do we go from here? I have a lot of stuff going on offline. A lot of which has been sucking up my free time, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon. Might be some videos about some of it, might not, but I really miss making a lot of videos. One of them, by the way, is I got the bad news from my internet service provider that the service I pay for, the price is doubling. I'm no longer a new customer, so they're going to sock me close to $100 a month for this service. Service, which, by the way, I only have because of streaming. I don't really need it otherwise. So I got to decide, do I want to even bother streaming anymore? Or what else can I do about it? Or can I move somewhere with Verizon Fios and get a more synchronous connection available to me instead of having to pay like crazy when I need the upload bandwidth more than the download bandwidth? So there's going to be some things going on. Might not post as much. And might be chuckling at the people laughing that don't understand that those goofball videos I made a couple of days ago were April Fool's jokes. But at the same time, I want to get back to tech tinkering and making computer videos. Because as far as tech goes, I have stuff sitting in the box for way too long. I want to clean this place up a bit too, get it more organized, get rid of a bunch of stuff. I may even get rid of all my consoles too, because I'm playing mostly PC MMOs these days. So I think I'm at a position where I don't want to feel like clutter holds me back. So if that means no longer playing consoles, so be it. I realized that there was this whole Marie Kondo thing a year ago or something about getting rid of stuff you don't need. I think being able to move and not put up with landlords any more than I needed to, if I just get out of there just like that, I think that's a noble goal to aspire to. Especially with the world us millennials are facing, where things are not as stable as they used to be. Either way. We're going to turn this into a spin-off video, which is part of the reason why everything's shut off, by the way. We're going to turn this into a spin-off video. And then that will be that with that. Until I figure out what the heck's going on with some of this other stuff that's been going on offline. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.